It's interesting, but you don't like being called boss. I don't either. I get cringy over it.
Yeah, it's weird. Or you don't have to get girl boss or boss lady. And I'm like, what does my gender have to do with what I'm doing with my life?
I know someone else who's a woman who is an entrepreneur, and she embraces boss lady.
Yeah.
So, but you don't like it.
No, I think it's because I've never been very, not girly per se, but like I'm a pretty, I don't know, I think like masculine woman, if that makes sense. Like I grew up, my brother's my best friend, like dirt bikes, Pokemon, Bionicles, like, you know, like I'm just not a very like girly person. So when someone would be saying like, oh, like good for you, or that's so good, I could always hear the for a girl. And that always just pissed me off. So when someone's calling me like, oh, you're such a girl boss or a boss lady, I get it. And I still appreciate it because I know that it's coming from a place of like, good for you, like good for you, because there's more stacked against you or whatever. But I just don't want any of my accomplishments to be attributed to my gender.
Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Taking Action. I am your host, Michael Allen. Today I'm joined with my co-host, Ryan Peaton, as well as our guest, Eliza King. Eliza King is an actor and entrepreneur, and she also tackles a world of other things, and we're about to get into it. Eliza, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about all the things that you're into, because it seems like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's some stuff, yeah. So I guess the thing I'm most known for is portraying Elsa from Frozen. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that for 10 years. It started from a Facebook message. It started from a Halloween costume, I should say. So when the movie came out, I had a lot of people saying, you look so much like this character. It's so weird. And so I was like, one year, I'm going to be her for Halloween. So I dressed up like her for Halloween. And then a bit after, I got a message about that look, about that costume from this lady saying, hey, you look a lot like Elsa from Frozen. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. And she was like, do you sing? And I was like, yeah, I sing. She was like, do you like kids? And I was like, well, dogs. I was like, it's not that I dislike them. I just don't have a lot of like experience around them.
Right.
Why? And she was like, well, I own a Disney princess impersonator company. So you would dress up and go to like kids parties and, act like Elsa and sing like Elsa for them. Like it's really magical. It's really fulfilling, blah, blah, blah. And it pays $50 an hour. So I was like, yeah, I love kids. What do you mean? Yeah,
$50 an hour.
Get me in, yeah.
Beautiful.
So I was 21 at the time. So I'm probably working at a restaurant or a bar or something. So I was like, yeah, sure. Like I can learn this. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I was working George Street Fest at Greensleeves, and the owner of the company brought the dress down, and I had to leave Greensleeves and go up Williams Lane and like get him to pass me the dress over the barrier because he couldn't come on the road. And I like stored it in a back room in Greensleeves for the night and was like, okay, so I guess I'm doing this tomorrow. Anyway, the first gig I did was the regatta. So I like opened up the bag and saw the dress, and at the bottom of the bag in a lovely little ball was this horrid wig.
Oh no.
Really bad. Just this ball of wig. And so I texted the owner and I was like, I actually wear extensions. Like I have a lot of blonde extensions. Can I just use those instead of the wig? And she was like, as long as you look the part, sure, why not? Just bring the wig just in case. So I remember walking into the regatta, and it took me maybe 20 to 30 minutes to even make it to her booth, because as soon as I stepped in, I was like mobbed by children. It was really crazy. It was a hit, immediate hit. And then when the owner, Jen, saw me, she was like, oh my goodness, like you are her. You look so much like her. And she was like, and the hair, like this is amazing. It's like so much better than the wig. So that's kind of how the idea of being the real Elsa was born, because I used extensions.
So you've got that acting side, and then you also have 3 businesses on the go as well.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you still doing Elsa?
Yeah.
So that's still like a part-time thing?
Well, that's two of the 3 businesses, I guess. Yeah.
It's interesting how you just fell into it. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Let's go back to...
No, all good. So skip forward several years of doing the princess gigs. Mm-hmm. The previous owner, Jen, was moving to Gander and asked if I wanted to buy the company. So I did.
Oh.
And that's Dream Parties and L. So that's I guess we're a Disney impersonator company. We also do like superheroes and stuff too.
So I guess if I had just waited, you would answer my question.
Get there.
She was good there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be, I'll be 31 in May. So that will officially be 10 years of doing Elsa. Pretty cool. So.
And is it just Elsa? I mean, you look like you would also suit other Disney princesses as well, like Sleeping Beauty or Rapunzel.
I do other ones. Just not as often, and I've kind of been taking a step back because where I own the company now and where I have the 2 others, I'm just busy.
Yeah.
So I don't do as many of the parties that I used to, and I've just recently, or I guess last year, hired a manager for Dream Parties and L. So she does a lot of the like handling the front end and a lot of the parties for me too. But I also kind of created my own character, Fairy Godmother. Just to stay clear of like copyright and stuff. So if I'm wanting to do like public performances or like run ads on Facebook and stuff, like you just got to be conscious of it.
Right.
So where Fairy Godmother doesn't belong to Disney, I've kind of like recreated her as my own character that we can like use as a mascot. And so I'll do her and I'll do Elsa, and if I have to, I'll do someone else, but I have mostly just been those 2.
I never thought about that. You haven't had Disney knocking.
We've tried to reach them.
Yeah.
The previous owner tried, I have tried, and before I bought the company, I asked my lawyer about it, and he said, you are not even a plankton. Not like, it's not like a small fish in a big pond. He's like, you're non-existent. Right. He's like, there are people who tour across Ontario with Frozen that don't have copyright. So he's like, you're just making kids happy. He's like, if anything ever comes from it, your cosplay. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good enough for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good lawyer.
Yeah, I know. Great.
Good
So,
or really bad? We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the company itself was established in 2013, so it's been really long running before I even took over. So I think at this point, it's
Spoiler alert: she sold it for a reason.
I still work with her actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. We still work together on shows. But yeah, so the Dream Parties that's my sole proprietorship, and then we just opened a princess party venue in Paradise. So that's one of the other companies. It's called the Dream Room, and it was quite a journey to get there. And so it was really cool to open that February 1st. We opened up and had a grand opening, and it went extremely well.
And where's that in Paradise?
In Carwood Drive. Yeah,
okay.
There's like the one condo building in Paradise. And then I have NL Bus Tours, which is my like startup, built it from scratch, have learned everything that I know building that. I established that in April of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you say you built not only the business, but you're talking about you renovated the bus as well?
Yeah, I cut out the seats.
So you've got a passion for travel vehicles, it sounds.
Yeah. So I buy old school buses. After 12 years, the school board can't use school buses anymore. They need to buy new ones.
Oh, that's good to know.
So they're old beat up school buses. They will auction off. So you can buy them, and then you got to put a lot of money into them to get them roadworthy and to get them legal to run as like a commercial vehicle. So I buy.
When you say a lot of money, what are you talking?
Oh, one of my buses was probably 35,000, 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus purchasing it in the first place.
Plus purchasing it, the purchase price can be relatively low depending on where you're getting it, what shape it's in, and who owns it. Because if you've got 100 buses and like 20 of them are now out of date, they're just taking up space in your lot. So some people are just like, get out of my way, take it, I don't care. So I was lucky with 2 of my buses. I got them for like fairly cheap starting off, but one of them is like a 2006, the other is a 2009, and they break down. I mean, they're 40-foot diesel vehicles.
Myself on that. You're like 2006, 2009. I was like, wow, that was like 5 years ago. Wait, no.
The bus is almost 20 years old.
Getting older, buddy.
Yeah.
That should not be 20 years ago.
But actually, the 2006, the older bus, is the one that's like solid, still trucking. Yeah, she doesn't look certain in the cold, but that's it. But yeah, it was this idea of doing something, taking something that's already happening and just trying to like improve on it in a unique way. So we cut the seats in half. We cut the tops off the seats and we turn them sideways. So the bus is like a party bus, like bench seating. Yeah. And then we install an inverter and install Bluetooth speakers and party lights, strobe lights, LED lights, black lights, all of that.
When you say we, who are you referring to?
Myself and my partner, Brandon. He's not like an official business partner, but he's, just dragged into it.
I was going to say.
He's a good partner.
Yeah, he didn't say it. I was going to say, you drug him into it.
He's like, come on. He does, yeah. And he, because he works at the Coast Guard, so he's very busy anyway. And we're also building a house at the same time. So, like, he helps when he can. But like,
you like to have a lot on your shoulders.
A lot on the go, yeah. I like the pressure. I think I'm one of those people that just does well under pressure. I will procrastinate until it's crunch time, because that's when I'm like, okay, it's go time. Let's do it and hammer it out. So yeah, Idle Bus Tours is very much a reflection of me as a person, like that being wild and free. And I just wanted to get my friends out of town, because like a bunch of townies, they don't want to do anything. I'm like, does anyone want to go like cross the island and go like white water rafting in Grand Falls? And they're like, oh, I don't want to drive, or like this and that. So I'm like, okay, the bus will take you. You do your thing, I'll drive.
Yeah.
So it was this idea of just providing like a fun and frugal option for group transportation. They're school buses. They're spray painted. They have like Costco Bluetooth speakers in them. They're not fancy by any means. They're very much like, it is what it is. It's an upcycled school bus. But I got my first wedding booking and I was like, why does someone want my school bus? And then I looked at the prices of what like a coach costs for a wedding. And like $1,500 for 4 hours going around the city getting your picture taken. I was like, that's crazy. Can't cost that much. And now that I've been running the company, I know why they charge that. But, we have music, we have lights and fun. We can have a party on a school bus. So it's the fun, frugal option.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about maintenance costs? I imagine I've always steered away from anything that requires... I can see you look on your face. Yeah. I've always steered away from anything with moving parts, or at least try to, because I know it's going to require a lot of maintenance.
Yeah. Astronomical. Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably why $1,500 was what they're charging.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who owns their lot, has their own mechanics, can write their own inspections, can do their own work, not bad. Not bad at all. But for someone like me, I'm the youngest and the only female transportation owner that I know of in the province, if not further out. I've only researched a little bit and I couldn't find anyone. So breaking into this industry...
I think the Parsons sisters are also into the busing business.
Is that the Parsons and Sons? Like the same...
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I forget their names now. It's been a long time since I've been in their world.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Marble one year and they were on the bus and I thought it was their family's business.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm the only, like, it's just me. Like, when I started, I was a 27-year-old girl and I didn't even have Brandon then. It was literally just me. Wow. So, I mean, in a way of, like, I didn't have a family that like knew anything about buses or anything or
you
like
just jumped to do it because you wanted this.
Yeah, I wanted to do it and I wanted to do something different. And after college, I was working at the Coast Guard and I was laid off. And then I was like, now what? So after a short encounter with crypto.
Oh, really? We chatted a little bit about this.
Yeah, specifically CNFTs. I was in a few Discord channels there for a bit. I was into Cardano early 2020, and we all know what happened to crypto. So when...
What happened to crypto?
It went wee. And I went bye. So then
it's actually going wee right now.
Yeah. Well, that's crypto.
Yeah.
But for
how many currencies do you hold, like a little bit of money and just waiting for it to...
I got 3 right now.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like 10.
No, well, I have more, but I don't put money into the shit coins, as people would say.
He's just waiting for
There's 3 that are like, there's
Yeah.
3 that are decent.
Yeah.
And I heavily am invested in one. And I actually don't hold any Bitcoin. I think and our next guest is really going to be upset about that because she's all about Bitcoin. She's the one with the Bitcoin board game.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm Bitcoin and
You
Ada.
can come
That's
back.
it. Yeah, we can chat. We can chat.
You can send this side, Michael.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You'll ask her
I'll do the.
So you got
the
out because it tanked.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. We were working with NFT projects with Ada, myself and my sister. And yeah, it was just really, really tanking, and it wasn't going to be sustainable. And it wasn't like the future that I wanted anyway. So I had gone on like a bus tour in Peru that picked us up in Miraflores and brought us all the way to Cusco. And every place we stopped, there was like a discounted place to eat, a discounted place to stay, and a discounted amenity. And I was like, why does Newfoundland not have this?
Yeah.
Like, we have so much cool stuff to see across the island, and so many like hidden gems and just like natural beauty and great small businesses. I'm like, why does this not exist at home? So skip forward to me getting laid off from the Coast Guard and dancing with crypto for a bit. Yeah, it was April of 2022, and my current partner, Brandon, for our second date, asked if I wanted to go ziplining, and I was like, okay, he's the one. so I called ziplining, and I was like, are you guys open? No, they weren't open. I was
Is
like,
that North Atlantic
yeah,
zipline?
yeah. And I was like, well, I have you. If I like started a bus company and would like bring people to you, would you give them like a bit of a discount to like incentive?
Definitely.
And that was his reaction. It was like, yeah, yes, definitely do that. Please do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I will. And I hung up, and then I was like, how to open a business? Like, literally just looked it up and was like, how do I start a business? Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I guess I figured it out. Like, we're going into year 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I just got so booked up with weddings and bus crawls that I still haven't done a cross-island tour.
Oh, really?
Still haven't done it. I've made the plan several times, and I'm actually doing a ski shuttle for White Hills and now coming in March.
Good to
and
know.
that's like the closest thing I've gotten to. And I'm
Nice.
meeting with the East Coast Trail Association. We're going to try to do like a hiker's shuttle, like trails like the Spout.
Yeah.
If people don't want to, do the whole thing, they can leave. We can leave, drop them off in the parking lot, meet them at the end, and bring them home.
So do you have any drivers, or are you doing that all by yourself?
I do have drivers. Yeah. So I have my class 4, which lets me drive 24 passengers or less. And then I have my permit in class 2, which lets me drive a bus above 24. And that's intentional because I do everything. Like, I do everything. And I know if I could drive that bus, I would be doing it too. And I would be driving myself insane. So Brandon has his class 2. And if there's like an emergency, I can send him out. But I have incredible people on the team now. Like, I have 3 drivers that I would consider like kind of like my full time. When I was mostly the school buses run, so when the 2 school buses run, it's those 2 drivers. And one of them is from Ukraine, and he's hilarious, and like, people remember him. And my other driver is just super charming and lovely and kind. So in like the Facebook group for wedding discussion, they will be mentioned by name several times. Like, people know like Danny and Yvonne, and then Kayla's my other like full-time driver. And I don't know what I would do without them, because those buses are hard to drive. Like, doing like practicing in it and stuff, like the turns and all of that. I'm a very confident driver. I've been driving, since I was 13 out around Bay.
That's right. That's the legal age out of Bay.
I had a dirt bike. I've driven every vehicle. But it's definitely intimidating driving such a large vehicle through traffic, and not everyone understands that sometimes you got to swing out into the other lane, and that's okay. Like, during your driving test, that's what the instructor will tell you. I would rather you swing out than hit a curb. But knowing that, like, everyday people don't know that on the road.
I know. I see trucks and buses and even Metro bus, even though they got that shorter wheelbase. People don't realize that they need a little more room. And if you could just stay back and give them that space, but they're like they don't do that.
They don't.
And it just makes it more challenging.
I did defensive driving in the military. We drove large trucks like that as well. And one thing that always stuck in my mind was the stopping distance. I don't think a lot of people will get like right up next to a bus.
Yes.
And then some buses will get right up behind smaller vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't think people are aware of that. The big vehicle is going to need a lot of time to stop.
It does. A lot of stopping power and just the weight and like the shake of it and everything. Like, yeah, it's serious. It's a serious thing to be doing, like driving these buses. And that's something that when I started NL Bus Tours, the going rate of pay was $20 an hour for like a bus crawl for a driver on the weekend. You know, a lot of them drive like doing the long hauls and stuff, like driving tractor trailers. So very much bus crawls are like a side gig for them, paying $20 an hour. And I'm like, like not anyone could do this.
Right.
Like not only do you need the experience, you're driving a bus full of screaming people with pounding music and flashing lights around a dark city with very, very terrible weather sometimes. So the fact that they were only getting paid $20 an hour just didn't like feel right to me. So when Danny came and started working for me, I just asked him, I was like, what is more fair? And he said 25, so I paid 25. And then after so long, he will like go and start the buses for me randomly on the weekends. And anytime I need someone, he's there. I call him my work dad. And then same thing with Yvonne. Just anything I need. He helped cut out the seats and rearrange them. He helped install lights on one of the other bus. So it's very much become like bigger than me.
It's a team now.
Yeah, it's a team. And like there's nothing worse than when they call me their boss or say they work for me. I'm like, no, we work together. Like,
right. But they probably get a lot of enjoyment out of that as well.
They do. They definitely do. I know that they love it. And yeah, I just really appreciate having them. And even just having like men there. Because like when I walk into the parts shop, you know, I can hear the thoughts. Like not always, not everyone's like that, but it does exist, and I am aware of it. So I will admit there are some times that I just get one of the guys to call for me. I'm like, can you call this person? This is the part we need. This is the part number. I know it's on there. I know it's there. Like, can you arrange that?
It's interesting, but you don't like being called boss. I don't either.
No.
I get cringy over it.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's kind of like...
Or you don't have to get girl boss or boss lady. And I'm like, what does my gender have to do with what I'm doing with my life? Like,
that's right.
Okay, no, I know someone else who's a woman who is an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And she embraces boss lady. Like,
yes.
She goes with that.
Yeah.
So, but you don't like it.
No, I think it's because I've never been very... not girly per se, but like I'm a pretty, I don't know, I think like masculine woman, if that makes sense. Like I grew up, my brother's my best friend, like dirt bikes, Pokemon, Bionicles, like, you know, like I'm just not a very like girly person. So when someone would be saying like, oh, like good for you, or that's so good, I could always hear the for a girl after, and that always just pissed me off. So when someone's calling me like, oh, you're such a girl boss or a boss lady, I get it, and I still appreciate it because I know that it's coming from a place of like, good for you, like good for you, because there's more stacked against you or whatever. But I just don't want any of my accomplishments to be attributed to my gender.
Yeah, that's fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you find it's getting worse or better? Hopefully better.
I don't know. I think both in a very weird way. Both.
Interesting. Do you find maybe your confidence now that you're 4 years into it?
Yeah.
And you know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You kind of like you want you gotta own that. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So now when you walk in, it's kind of like, this is the part I need.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I mean it's a small
attitude.
It's kind of a small circle industry, so I remember calling someone for a part, and I was like, you know, I go into my phone call mode of like, hi, I'm Eliza from NL Bus Tours, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, I knows you. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, have we met? It's like, no, bye. Like, no, I heard your spray paint buses and all that. What do you need? And I'm like, oh. Anyway, bye. You know, I just need a turbo. That's it. Like, and I'm like, okay, I can just drop this now. I don't know why I bother at this point. But yeah, I think I think my reputation kind of preceded me of like, I was that young girl coming into this not knowing anything about buses or business or...
That's the best way to learn, though.
Yeah.
That's the
It
best
was.
way.
I very much hit the ground running.
You're accepted now. From what you just said, they know you. They're like, yeah, cool, what do you need?
Yeah.
Like,
It's very... There's like two bus owners who have been absolutely wonderful. That's Evan Bursey and Todd Sheeran. Like, Evan Bursey has been like my role model in this, and he's just been so kind and supportive, and he'll answer my questions, and there's no like, he doesn't withhold. Where some of the other people I call, I heard from someone out of town, like, oh, no one in town is going to sell you a bus because they don't want you doing what you're doing. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Great, love that. Just try to do something nice. But Evan Bursey and Todd have been the opposite. They're like, oh, you need a bus? Take it. Go on. Like, Todd Sheeran many times. Take my bus. And, I park my buses on Evan Bursey's lot. And he'll, like, one of his workers will call me and be like, hey, I got a school run. Can I take one of your buses? I'm like, yes, go on, whatever. Like, so I'm really thankful for them because they made me feel like I could do this and that it wasn't like, this is a boys club.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you have all your buses customized, or are some of them still all seats facing forward, or did you customize them all? I'm just curious about what you said. If they need to do a school run or something, they ask you if they can take one of your buses.
Yeah,
go ahead. Would they be able to only do that if it wasn't modified?
Yeah. So the way it works is if it's an after school program or anything like out of school, by school run I mean like a run to a school but after school. It can't be anything like for the actual school district. Okay. But if it's private, then it's commercial, and my vehicles are commercial. But I do have a bus that has regular facing seating that we use for that.
You mentioned you haven't done what you set out to do, which is that journey across Newfoundland. Have you looked at what it would cost to do a trip like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was like the first thing I did when I first started, and I was reaching out very, very green, and I would love to hear those voicemails that I left, like Riverfront Chalet and people like that, like, just so...
You don't want to hear them.
Yeah. No, I'm probably...
I've
been humbled enough, I think. Maybe I don't do that. But yeah, I have looked at it, and it's definitely doable. My issue is my buses are booked. They are booked. I started July 1st was my first run, and I did it with Donnie Dunphy, and it was hilarious. We did this hilarious collaboration of like NL Bus Tour's first run, Canada Day. Donnie Dunphy was there. We took a video of him pretending to drive the bus and everything.
Oh, way.
Very, very funny. So I started July 1st and I had 26 bookings that year. So it was like a half year. The next year I had 125 and 2 buses. The year after that I had 3 buses, 350. Now I'm putting my 4th on the road and I have 110 bookings so far.
So let's dive into that a little bit. What are you using to manage all those bookings?
I use Business Suites a lot. That's where I do a lot of my communication. And I use QuickBooks Online, QBO, and I use Band, which is like a scheduling app.
Okay.
And I use my mom.
So you got a bit of a tech stack, and then also your mom.
Mama Janice. She covered for me. She made the mistake of offering to cover for me while I was on vacation one time, and then she just still works.
She never went. Yeah. Oh no.
So she does my invoices. She loves it. Absolutely loves it, because she. And these are her words. She says she doesn't have a business background, and she would always say, like, I feel like I can't help you. And I'm like, but you can. You don't need to know. I don't know anything about business. Like, I just need, like, help. So she absolutely loves it, and she has this little book where she keeps track of every single booking. And I'm like, Mom, we have that on the Google Doc.
Right.
She's like, no, I gotta write it down. And yeah, it makes her... She loves being involved. Yeah.
What do you think it would cost if you were to have some availability and you wanted to do this goal that you had set out for? What do you think it would cost per person to go on a trip like that?
For a passenger.
And these can be obviously rough numbers because your brain hasn't been in that world for a while.
No, it hasn't, and I don't want to say something wrong and then put it out and it be like double that, and people be like, what?
Right.
I don't know. I would want to keep it just like a couple to a few $100s. That's for me. That's what I would pay.
Yeah.
And that's what I go back to all the time with all of my businesses. Would I pay for this?
Right. And so with that, what would it include? So, I mean, I just got the DRL across from Corner Brook to here, and I think it cost me like $137 or something like that.
Yep.
So is the price you're talking about just for the trip, or do you have planned activities in mind for people to do when they arrive?
Yeah, so that's what I would ideally like to do. And at the time, one of my friends was working at Rafting NL. So I was chatting with him about it, and I wanted us to leave from St. John's and stop at a few like key points along the way. And every place I stopped, like the business model in Peru, that inspired me from the beginning. So I wanted to stop places and support like a local restaurant. So I'd reach out to them and be like, hey, if I bring a busload of this many people, would you give them a discount if we choose your place to come to bring these people to as part of this like package? So ideally I'd want everything kind of planned out for people, but still with freedom. Like what if you hate the water and you don't want to go rafting?
Right.
So I wouldn't want that to be included. So I kind of want it to be like customizable. Like, this is the itinerary of the bus. These are the places we're stopping. This is your free time to do what you want. And these are the places that will offer you a discount.
Almost like a cruise in some way.
Yeah,
I imagine cruise
a
lines
land
do the
cruise.
same thing.
Yeah, land cruise is what I was calling it for a bit.
Okay.
I guess the trouble with that is, you can plan it all out. You can put it out there,
Yeah,
and nobody books it.
and nobody books it.
Or
And that's happened.
or is it potentially even worse if half the people, say if you had it for 50 people and only 25 people book it?
Yeah, well, I always base my prices off half or even less attendance. If I'm going to run something, I need to be covering my costs at least like a quarter attendance up to a half, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So
everything
a
about
good
that is
business
great.
model that I don't know if you've thought about, that I've been a big fan of for years, and I don't believe it exists here, is a coupon book.
yeah,
So you would just literally sell a book worth of discounts for probably $100, and it's got $1,000 worth of discounts in it.
Yeah,
And then somebody could go and they can do that cherry picking, like
Yeah.
you mentioned, on their own time.
and do that. Yeah, no, that would be
Michael,
really
she's
great.
got 3.
Handle another one.
Another business?
She's looking for it. That's why she came here tonight.
Oh, but I would.
So let's just go back and recap though. So
Sure.
you've got a sole proprietor
Yeah.
and 2 incorporated businesses.
Well, Dream Room is working its way there. So the Dream Room, like I said, there's a bit of a mixed history there. And now there's more than just me on that team. So we're just trying to decide, like, legally what is the best thing to do. But it will be some kind of entity.
So did you ever think you'd own 3 separate companies or whatever, incorporated or self-proprietor, whatever, it doesn't matter?
No, I wanted to be an ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Didn't do that. No, way too much school. And no, I didn't. I don't think I ever really know what I would do, but I knew it would be different. And I knew it would probably be a bit of a mess, but like a nice one, like a beautiful mess.
I think we call that a hot mess.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm trying to find the right words for it. Because I personally felt like I've always known I'd be an entrepreneur.
Wow.
I just always knew.
But yeah, that's amazing
I
for you.
remember, well, it's some people just know they're going to be doctors. And
Yeah.
some people just have that. Did you have that? Did you, because I mean, you're really entrepreneurial. You're one
Yeah.
of the most entrepreneurial people I ever met.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's a compliment.
Yeah.
When did you, like, was it ever a realization, like, I'm going to just be self-employed or an entrepreneur, or I'm going to do something cool. I'm never going to fit in work. Because you worked at the Coast Guard. You worked for the government.
Yeah, I did.
But how did your personality fit in a government role? That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's why it was the best thing ever when I got laid off.
Right.
So my work history is so hilariously spotty. I was fired from probably like 15 places.
Like
No joke.
fired?
Fired.
Straight up get out.
Straight up fired. Straight up
What
fired.
did you do?
I have ADHD, as I mentioned, and that's another reason why I was really happy to have that diagnosis, because it taught me that it wasn't my fault, really, in a way. So for people with ADHD and myself personally, whether it's my personality or ADHD, me as a person, I would get the job, rock an interview, absolutely nail it. Start out very high energy, Absolutely fantastic, quick learner, great at especially like serving bartending jobs. Like I could chat forever. I would get done up and I would show up on time and really, really rock the job in the beginning. And then I would get so bored. Like, I've learned this, I've done this now, I'm bored. And my motivation would just start to decline and I wouldn't dress as nice or wear as much makeup, or I'd start to show up a little later and later until I'm only 5 minutes before my shift starts. And I would just lose the motivation and lose the interest because with ADHD, you chase novelty and you chase challenge and newness, and we're very fleeting. So I would just...
Jesus, do I mean...
She's making me feel like I need to.
But a lot of entrepreneurs do, and that's what I was saying. It's not a bad thing. There's so many pros to having it. And like when you learn about like the actual difference in your brain structure and your brain chemistry, it's really, really amazing because you can pinpoint like, oh, that's why I do that. Okay, good, cool, good to know. But yeah, so as for knowing like what I was going to do, I knew that I was doing the wrong things and I hated working for people who I didn't think deserved the position that they had. Restaurant industry, there's managers that just kept moving up the ladder because they never did anything else and they've been there for 15 years, so they just kept getting promoted when they weren't doing the thing that was probably best for them.
Yeah.
So not only was I sad to see that of like this person who probably has all these other amazing skills and talents that aren't even being used because they've just been stuck in this place, but I was also horrified of the idea of being stuck in this place. And when I worked at the Coast Guard, doing a 8 to 4 Monday, Friday was painful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely painful. It was really cool. I was climbing radio towers, fixing electronics, like I got to do things that I enjoyed, like soldering and stuff like that. The stuff that I did in school that I really, really loved to do.
Oh, so you never had a desk job?
No, I worked for electronics and informatics down Southside base. So we would be in office sometimes, but mostly we were on the road going to the stations and stuff to, a lot of it was procedural or preventative maintenance, PMs. So we would be just checking that everything's working. Okay, it's working, let's leave. So you can see how that might get a little stuffy. Yeah.
No, and the reason I thought you did the desk job, I was just thinking, I know somebody who works at the Coast Guard now.
Yeah.
And I know he's finding it extremely boring.
Yeah.
And he has a desk job.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, so government, I see what you mean there. So it was like government, but a little different, but not different enough.
It's interesting that you mentioned not being able to work comfortably or passionately behind somebody who maybe shouldn't be in that role. And I really found that with the military. You know, in the military, you have to respect somebody's rank, but you don't necessarily have to respect the person.
Yeah.
But you still have to do what they say. So that was a big struggle.
So I was in the reserves for a year.
You were?
Yeah.
What were you in?
I was in signals.
Okay.
I was accepted as vehicle tech, and I didn't even do basic.
You didn't even do basic? You never gave it a chance at all?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I remember one of my first days, one of the girls was like, yeah, if there's like a string out of place, they might yell at you, but they gotta like get close and say like permission to touch you first before they like, and I was like, what? Like, so I don't know. I found it very... Yeah, it was just not for me. Yeah. I put myself in it because I was in a place of, I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I was out of high school. I was getting fired from everywhere. I was laid off a few places, but it was usually fired. But, I was doing something not right. It wasn't that it was wrong, but like whatever I was doing wasn't working. Right. So I was like, I need more discipline because I was always the problem. And anytime... Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but like anytime I was fired, it was like, I did it again. And I felt like I was letting my family down and letting myself down. Like, how can I keep getting fired? Or like, oh, Eliza got fired again. Like, or if my dad hadn't heard me talking about my job, did you get fired? No, Dad. Like, no, not yet. So I always took it to be a problem with me, and like, why can't I just keep a job? Like, why can't I just keep going? And it seemed like it was so easy for everyone else, and people had been places and they're like, oh, it's normal to move around a bit. But like, I need like 25 to 30 jobs, from cab driver to geo center to selling credit cards at a gas station.
Wow.
Like, everything.
This is actually really impressive.
No, it is. And this is really good, because I bet you there's so many people out there
who
like you
think that they're the problem.
who think, they're
you're not the problem.
Right? No.
They're not.
But,
and I needed that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so you found your niche. You just started doing cool stuff, and
Yeah.
you're like, the hell with this. I can't hold a job. I'm just gonna be
Be my own boss.
Be your own
I
boss.
can't fire myself, although I would have so many times. Because, like, as much as I'm working for myself and I'm better at working for myself, doesn't mean that I don't still make stupid mistakes or miss meetings or, you know, I'm still very much the same person. It's just I'm the only one I have to answer to. And if I make a mistake, then I'm not letting anyone else down. And I really, really like that kind of control. And also it just being on me. Like, my mom always says, you know, that me and my siblings are her greatest accomplishment, and she takes all the blame, but also all the credit. And I really love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So if, like, my company has 5 stars on Google, and we have like over 30 reviews, and they're like organic. These are real people that actually went on the bus, and I'm really, really proud of that, and I take full credit for that. And then there's one bride in the bridal group who tore me a new one because the boss was this, the boss was that, the driver this, the driver that, and I still love it. Because that's, you know, that's for me to clean up. Like,
that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So,
it will.
yeah. I'm gonna get in trouble for this.
Do it.
I'm not surprised it was a bride. I'm
mean,
gonna get some hate.
Bridezilla?
They're gonna hate me in the comments for that one.
I mean,
they're
they're under a lot of pressure, like societal and financial, and from your family. I'm very much not a wedding person as much as I'm in the wedding industry, and that is a lot of my work. It's not something I would put on myself personally. And I you know, my heart goes out to the people who are planning their weddings, because there is just so much pressure for it to be the perfect day, the best day of your life. So yeah, if your bus is late, that sucks. Like, I can't imagine how stressful and like disappointing and frustrating that would be. So if something goes wrong with my companies or with my boss, like, I feel that disappointment, because I'm like, man, if that was me, I would be so angry right now. Like, I'd be so frustrated with these people. Like, I hired them, like, just do your job. Like, I get it. I get why people get emotional. And, you know, if someone's coming to me, and it really hasn't happened a lot. Like, I've actually been pretty fortunate with how many times like things have gone wrong with buses. But anytime it does, I'm just there with the person of like, man, I am so sorry. And you just got to be there and say, like, I can't apologize. There's nothing that can be done that can fix this for you. And I truly regret that, because, you know, it's a person.
Do you ever look at other business owners and think, God, I wish my skin was as thick as theirs, because they don't seem to care. And everything just seems to roll off their back, and you're there just...
So empathetic.
Yeah.
Empathetic and into it.
It has definitely been used against me, and that's something I had to learn. Not so much like toughen up, but people will exploit you and your small business and your kindness. And that has happened.
And that happens in personal life as well as business as well.
Does.
I mean, everyone can benefit a little bit from a thicker skin at times.
Yeah.
While still being empathetic, like you're saying.
I think that I am good at knowing when there will be a line crossed. I can tell when someone is genuinely upset, and they are right to be, and whatever percentage back that they're getting. Like, I have my policies in place of, like, if the bus is 5 minutes late, if it's 15 minutes late, if it's a half hour late, if it doesn't show at all, what do I do in that situation? It's in my policies there in writing. But of course there's exceptions. Sometimes there's, like with cancellations, like a bride reaches out and says her wedding was called off. What do you do? Keep their money? Like, no, I'm not going to keep their money. Like, I can imagine what they're dealing with. And I think of the other vendors that, and it's not necessarily that I can afford to be giving back a deposit more than anyone else. I probably less can because I'm so new and inexperienced. But I just know that a lot of people don't and wouldn't. So being an empathetic person, it almost feels like it's my job, but it's a job I'm proud to do.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be the person that will be empathetic and sympathetic towards someone and be able to say, you don't have to explain, you have to apologize, here's your money. Go on a trip, girl. You do you.
Right.
But yeah.
Tell me about managing the party side, or the Disney it's not Disney princess.
We have superheroes and princesses and some Disney stuff as well. So.
But it's dream parties now.
Yes.
So and you mostly do princesses that show up to, I guess, primarily girls' parties.
Yeah, primarily.
Girls' parties.
Yeah, between 3 and 6.
How do you manage all those moving parts? I found that's super difficult. One time I did a muscle car calendar photo shoot where we paired models and muscle cars, and we donated all the money to the Ronald McDonald House. And just trying to get 2 separate individuals together to show up at the same place at the same time was so logistical. It was terrible.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
She's better than you.
Well, clearly she's got 3 businesses on the go, possibly 4 now, and the coupon book as well.
And a coupon, there you go. Stay tuned. Yeah.
That one's going.
At first, with great difficulty, it was really hard doing all of it alone because I started bus tours November 2022, and then I bought Dream Parties September 2022.
Oh.
So when the previous owner came to me and asked if I wanted to buy it, I was like, I don't actually know what I'm doing. I know that you see I have a business now and you're like, that bitch, she could know. But I did it because I knew that it was an established business, something I was familiar with. She already had bookings. It was already pretty much running itself. And the company is so old that she wasn't even advertising. She hadn't advertised in 5 years.
Wow.
I don't think she ever ran like a Facebook ad or anything. Wow. So word of mouth was enough for that business to kind of keep it running, and I was familiar with it. So I was like, sure, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Just roll it in.
And then I was late for the first booking I had as the new owner.
Oh no.
Well done. That's awesome.
Do you do slumber parties?
We will be in our new space.
Okay, exciting.
Now that we have a safe space. Sleeping Beauty will be having a slumber party in the summer. We're working on it. And I've seen it trending that these companies have like the little tents.
Actually, I have 6 of them.
Do you?
I just bought them for I went all out. I was like, I'm going to do this for girls.
Okay.
It's a bit of a nightmare to try and plan it all.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing it for my daughter because she wants it. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful. So I have all that gear if you want it.
Yeah, no, I would buy it off you where we can collab. Like, collabs are my whole thing.
I realized I'm not going to have time to do that.
I saw the pictures. And I was like, damn, Michael.
It was really good.
Good job.
It was worth it. I put probably $600 or more just into the tents and the sleeping gear and the sheets and all the stuff.
Yeah, I was looking at them on Costway not even last week. Funny enough, yeah. We'll chat on that.
Yeah.
So you went from hosting kids parties with characters.
Yeah.
And now you have a space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that. I know there's a story there. I'm just going to serve it up to you now. I want you to get it back to me.
Yeah, so let's get into it. The dream room.
First of all, why did you want a space? Why not just stick with going to kids' birthday parties, dressed up as characters, having fun, and getting out of there quick and easy?
There was more to do.
Okay.
There was more to do that wasn't being done.
So there's more opportunity there.
Yeah, and there was like a gap in the market, and I have friends with kids that are constantly like, what am I going to do to entertain them? I need things. And, we have we indoor playground, Get Air, Frontline paintball, and places like that are really, really great, but they're children. They don't want to do the same things all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things, not to like bring gender into it, but a lot of these things appeal to little boys. And there wasn't really anything that was like, or that I could find or that I knew of that was like, this is for little girls to come and do. Like you're a dad, I'm
It's
sure.
so funny you said that because I did Frontline for my daughter.
Oh, did you?
And all the boys loved it.
Yeah.
And the girls were kind of like just running around doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, Aaron, I thought she was really going to like this because we were into it at one point in time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say like it's not even a gender thing because I would prefer Frontline over Princesses any day.
Right.
Like any day. Paintball,
But-
laser tag, love it.
I know it's not a gender thing. We raised, Jay and I raised our kids. I got a boy 9, a girl 6.
Yep.
We raised them as gender neutral as we possibly
Nice.
could.
Yeah, good for you.
And he's a boy.
Yeah.
And she is a girl.
Yeah.
In the traditional sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we didn't encourage it. We didn't point at anything in any direction.
Just let them do their
but
thing.
he's just a rough and tumble boy, and she wore a tutu to school today.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty,
And she wanted to feel pretty.
and she wanted to feel
But
pretty.
you know what? I never realized how many little boys' makeup I would do until the dream room. Yeah. We're doing nail painting and they come over and I have to like suppress my joy at them coming over and be like, Elsa, can you do mine? I'm like, I would love to, you little sweetheart. And like, and doing their eyeshadow and stuff, and then to see them run to their parents, and their parents are just as open and supportive to that. Like, it's really, really so nice to see because that's makeup. Like, who says it's just for girls? Like,
absolutely.
it doesn't have to be. And neither are princesses. We've done birthday parties for a boy as a princess because that's what they wanted. So
Cool.
yeah. But anyway,
you have male models as well
Yeah,
that dress
yeah.
up. And what are their characters?
mostly like Marvel superheroes, like Spider-Man. Pretty much is like 90% of it. Elsa and Spider-Man are literally 90%. Of
You know what's
boys.
hilarious? I dressed up as Spider-Man for a nephew's birthday party one time.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. We were at a bowling alley and I was Spider-Man. I kind of loved it because I loved Spider-Man growing up.
Did they get aggressive? Because that happens sometimes.
No, I played my role pretty well, I think.
Okay, that's
Kept my
good.
distance
Yeah,
and
smart.
didn't speak.
Yeah.
And then kind of disappeared. Made a quick appearance.
Did you
Right.
practice any backflips or anything? Like, do any Spider-Man
No,
tricks?
No, I got my crouch on the go like this
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
little Spidey pose. Yeah, sweet. But yeah,
So it's good to know you can service boys and girls, and
Yeah.
it's not just Disney princesses, but also Marvel characters.
now the space is pink, like the walls are pink and purple. So the space is very much geared towards that, but we do hope to convert it into something multi-purpose. It's just one thing at a time.
Right.
And I've got to keep telling myself that. But yeah, the space in general, I just wanted a venue to be doing this. And I should mention the previous owner of Dream Parties did have a venue for some time downtown.
Okay.
They had a store called Del Sol. They sold things that change color in the sunlight. It was very cute.
Oh, no way. Did they sell, like, Disney shirts?
Yeah.
T-shirts and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the names, but I met
Jen and Ted.
Yeah, I met him a while ago when Jane and I were doing the Briefcase Co. in 2016.
My favorite business he's on.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. There's been a few over the years.
I feel like that old baby. I'm on the way there. But yeah, they had a venue downtown and we did a couple tea parties out of it. So we would have like tea party with Belle at this time slot and then like Ariel and then it was like a time slot thing.
Yeah.
So they had a venue, they just had a room in the upstairs of their store that they would use for events, and they wanted to do birthday parties, but Jen and Ted went their separate ways. They converted the store into a gift shop, and now Jen is out in Gander living her best life. So yeah, so when I took over Dream Parties, I wanted to continue the tea party thing, the Mommy and Me Princess Tea Party. That is something that Jen coined. She did the very first one years and years ago, and we would do it for Mother's Day. So when I was owning it, or when I became the owner, I wanted to continue the Mommy and Me Princess Tea Party. So at the time, she had ongoing contracts with, we'll call it a large space in the city. A large venue with lots of open, empty space. So she had bookings with them for Christmas, Easter, stuff like that. The princesses would come into their space and do a little performance, and that was like an ongoing thing. They were hiring her often for that. So when I took over that partnership as well. And I kind of saw like there was more that you could do there. So come Mother's Day, I reached out to the landlord and asked like, hey, can I use one of the empty spaces to have a mommy and me princess tea party? And they said yes. So I was like, okay, I gotta decorate like a whole empty
How
venue
big is this
now.
space? How big are we talking?
I want to say 1,500 square feet, maybe, or more.
No,
It
that's
it
still
could
good
literally
space,
be
though.
double that. I am not spatially aware.
It was 500 square feet.
No, it was big. It was big. It's a big place.
Yeah.
So it's like the size of a store in a mall. Put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So
People watching this are like, why do you think that's so funny?
I wonder where it could be.
Wonder where it was. Yeah.
Anyway, the storefront sized venue was that they lent me to use was currently vacant. So they let me put up, I wasn't to put holes in the wall or cause any kind of damage because it was still up for rent.
Right.
So they gave me tables and the key. So I went in and we had tablecloths and like stick on, like peel off decorations and anything that I could hang from the rafters, I would, right? So we decorated this space for the Princess Tea Party and it went very, very well. It was extremely cute and people were excited to see something like this in that space, in that part of town. So on that success, I went to the landlord and I was like, what if we did birthday parties here? Can I try it?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, sure, try it for 3 months. So for 3 months, I was going to try this over the summer, and they very much knew that I was a new business owner. There's no way I could like pay for an entire venue, but the space was empty and it was bringing people in. So every booking, I would just give them like a kickback from each booking. And it wasn't very big, probably covered the power that I used or whatever, but the idea was people would start associating this with this wholesome idea of princess parties.
Right.
And yeah, so we did it, and then they were like, yeah, keep doing it. So I kept doing it, and then it kind of started to grow, and people were starting to recognize it, and we were getting bookings. I did 4 bookings in one weekend one time, and that was like amazing for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really, really working, but obviously it wasn't like sustainable forever. But where I was growing as a business owner and a company, and it was like still pretty small, I couldn't afford to like actually rent the entire space.
Like
Right.
full-time
Lease it, yeah. So it was very much just like a written verbal agreement type thing, like, and I was doing their events still. So like Christmas, Halloween, Easter, all of that, I was still doing their events with the characters and giving them like more than what I would normally give for like the price point. So it was a really, really nice arrangement that we had. It was really good, and it was bringing traffic into this place, and people were getting the idea of a princess party room. It was proving to me that this was an idea that people wanted. So I'm really, really appreciative of my time there, but it did go south.
Yeah, I was waiting for the butt.
Yeah. So I wanted to have a market. I wanted to have a market there, and I wanted...
Like a farmer's market?
Yeah, like a farmer's market. I wanted to have like 100 vendors. I have a really big market because it's a big space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big empty space. And I figure if you give people in this community and in this area something to be proud of, you know, maybe they'll treat it a little better. And maybe it'll start to get a better, you know, rep or a better stigma. So I wanted to do this market, and I wanted 100 vendors, and I wanted the princesses to be there performing and, you know, do an open mic and all of that. So I asked several times and didn't hear back, or like, not right now. And then eventually they said yes.
Really?
So now I had to plan.
I'm still waiting for the bus.
I had to plan.
You keep saying-
I had to plan a market with 100 vendors by myself. And I had never done that. And I had done a couple events with dream parties that did not go well because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Now I know what I'm doing, and I'm so proud. And I've actually reached out. I had a couple negative reviews, and I have recently reached out to those people and asked them, hey, give me another shot. It's been a few years. I've got a better team.
Smart.
I know what I'm doing now.
That's
Would you
great.
consider, and I don't message them and say, hey, can you remove this? I say, would you consider removing your review if you attend this free event, like you attend for free? If you feel like, you want to change it after, that would be amazing. So reaching that point was really huge for me.
Yeah.
Knowing that like I can pull an event off now, because there were some that were not great. So I had just had a Halloween event that didn't go according to plan. It was a mess, and one of my performers actually quit because it was so bad.
Wow.
It was
no.
really bad. Yeah.
Sometimes you stumble though.
Yeah, and it sucked. And my performers a lot of them are between like 14 to like 17, 18 years old. So I don't expect them to understand like everything else that's going on in the background.
Right.
So I was like, at the time, I was like, I understand. I would quit too. So on the heels of that kind of failed event, most of it was fine, but it was still not great.
Yeah.
I was feeling very vulnerable in my place where I had my space because I didn't have a lease signed. I didn't have any stability. If they decided like, nope, you messed up, you're gone, I was gone. So this market was like, again, my chance to like prove I can do this, because I knew I could, but I needed help. And here's the but.
There it comes.
I reached out to another local small business that I had always admired. I really liked them. They were really friendly. I had seen them at other events. And personally, I just like had a friend crush on them. Like I wanted to be their friends. So, and they had things like services to offer children that I didn't have. So I reached out to them and I was like, do you want to, see the smile, do you want to collab on this? And they were like, yeah, totally, we do. So they did. So they came in and we were like, okay, we're going to split the work this way. We're going to split the pay this way. This is what we're going to charge. Let's do it. And we were in the space doing our walk around, trying to figure out where the tables were going. And I just saw one of the guys like kind of like looking around, like looking at the empty spaces. And then he turns to the maintenance guy and he's like, what's the rent for somewhere here? And my heart just sank. Within a month, they opened their own venue.
Oh.
I just pushed you out.
2 more, mine was closed. I got an email saying, pay more or get out, essentially. And they're still there.
They knew what they did.
And they're still doing the markets without me.
Wow.
So that sucked.
Yeah.
That really sucked. But
What do you do after something like that happens?
you look at the other perspectives. So I looked at the landlord's perspective. Here I was taking out one of their venues. When I went into that meeting, I had requested a meeting with them, hoping to get something a little more permanent, because I felt like things were going good. We just had 2,000 people show up for the market. It was a huge success. It was very, very good. And I was excited to do more. So I finally got my meeting with the person in charge of this. And I went in there like excited and to be like, yeah, I wanna do something a little more permanent. And just like, I appreciate where things have been, or like having the space that I've had. And before I even spoke, it was just, yeah, the party room's not working for us.
Oof.
Very matter of fact.
Very, very straight, and
Very
I was
cold.
very, very taken off guard because like we just had this like crazy good market, and like everyone loved the princesses, and we had like a really good like it was that month that I had those 4 bookings in one weekend for the first time. So to me, it was growing and the traffic was coming in. And they just said, like, no, we've been watching and there's just not enough traffic. Like, what you're paying isn't even covering the power. Like, we're going to need more. I was like, okay. I mean, to them, to the people who run this company, I am a speck. I'm just someone that's squatting in one of their venues that they could be booking out to a full-time person. I get it. They need more. And, I've gotten this far and they've let me stay this long and do the things that I'm doing. Okay, sure, I'll do more. So they told me to do up a proposal of like what I could afford. And so I did, and I sent it off and I didn't hear back for like 2 months. And then I got a 2-week notice to be out. Yeah. So I guess what I offered wasn't enough, but it was more than I could afford. I would have been like probably putting some of my own money into it at that point, which is something I was trying to avoid.
You know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I've had so many moments in business that I'm having a hard time kind of recalling one now. But I know they're there.
Yeah.
Where something happened. Maybe I didn't get a job. Maybe I didn't get a contract that I wanted. And I was put in a position where I was like, how am I going to keep going? Where am I going to get the money to recover? I was kind of banking on this. Yeah. And it's gone. That is just, it's an awful feeling. But give it 3 months. Yeah. 6 months. I'm like, glad that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. The silver lining. I just did a segment with NTV called Silver Linings is their segment. And that was what I was speaking to of when I first lost the party venue. It was June. It was summer. I had parties booked.
Oh no.
All summer long. And, I had deposits that people had paid for their parties and stuff. And I was just without a space. So it worked out. I could have quit, and I probably should have at the time because I didn't have the finances. I didn't have the bandwidth for it, but I'm just so stubborn and I couldn't let them win. I couldn't let them do that to me. Mm-hmm. I couldn't. So I found a space and we shared this space. It was a family friend had an after school program. So it was summer, so obviously there's no after school program. Perfect. So she said, yeah, come in, paint the walls pink, that's fine. Come September, she had planned on closing her after school program, or we would just share the space. So I had my playroom and she had her after school program room, and then there was shared space as well. Yeah. So we got in there and painted the walls pink and put up our Disney paraphernalia and opened in time for our booking. And I think it was like maybe a week before that I had to message the customer and say, hey, we've moved locations, because I didn't know. And I was like, I'm not canceling this, but I need them to be like, I need them to have time to reschedule, because trying to find a party venue for a kid in the middle of the summer would have been a nightmare. So I was just determined. I was like, I am not doing this to these people. I'm not doing it to myself. I will pull this off. So like we went into my old space, and it was myself and my partner's parents, my sister, her partner. We all came in and we were out.
Called in everybody.
We were out because I had to get out of there. They gave me 2 weeks. I was out in a day. Wow. Like we came in, we hauled everything out. We were done, packed up, left. Like, thank you. Goodbye. Yeah. And again, still appreciative for having the time there. I wish it had gone differently. I don't know how it could have gone differently, because that one business had also been looking for a space for a long time. They're like, over 10 years established. They know what they're doing. Yeah. They wanted a venue. They found a venue. It wasn't about me. And they didn't know what was going to happen to me. I mean, probably could have guessed it, and I did message them and say, hey, just so you know, like since you've started talking about opening your venue, things have been changing for me, and I'm really scared that I'm going to lose mine. And it's not that they didn't care, it's just like they're doing what's best for their business as well. Right. So that's what I did. You asked me earlier, what do you do in that situation? You think about the other perspectives. It wasn't personal. It's not like I wasn't doing a good enough job. Yeah. It was just they found someone that would pay rent. Right. And it's their job to find people and pay the rent to keep the doors open. Yeah.
Did what they had to do.
But it did work out. It was a struggle, and it was scary and stressful. But
they handled it poorly. If they had a person like you in the situation that you needed, it would have been handled a lot better.
Yeah, I think there was definitely more gracious ways that could have been handled. Whether or not the outcome was the same, I just think that there were more integral ways of doing it. And I'm not saying I was the perfect tenant or I was amazing and perfect all the time either, but I didn't deserve that. I know I didn't deserve that.
But I think the big lesson there is that happens in business.
It does.
And
the lesson is sign things. If you're bringing someone in to collaborate with you, get them to sign like I know what they're called because my dad told me I should have signed it. Yes.
Yeah.
That.
But would it have even worked?
Probably not.
You would have had a non-compete for what? Hey, don't come in and rent the space that I'm partially renting?
Yeah, that I don't even have a lease for. Like, I didn't really have the claim. That's the thing. So it's a tough situation where it's like no one's really like doing anything horrible or wrong. It just sucked. and that's it. But like you said, everything happens for a reason. It worked out. Like January 1st, the landlord of my new venue closed her after school program after 25 years. She had herself run ragged with work, working at Emerge Dispatch for 911, working at Air Canada. She owned several businesses and 2 condos in that space. So she was a little firecracker and had herself like way strained. Yeah. But that was her. It was Avalon Tutoring. Katrina Snook is her name. Yeah. So, and a lot of people know that business, and people, even parents, have said, "Oh, I went there." Oh, wow. So her closing, it was like an ending chapter to her story, and then the beginning for mine. Right. So it was really cool to see that, like it made the decision for her, something that she had been struggling with for some time.
Right. So the timing couldn't have been actually more perfect.
Yeah, it really worked out. So January 1st, we took over the full space, and February 1st, we opened. And the bookings are coming in, and the kids are happy, parents are happy. And
so you've got a party venue that's successful.
Yeah.
And its bookings are coming crazy. You've got a fleet of buses that are being booked
and breaking down and being fixed again.
So you just got all the bookings.
All the stuff, and then the little budding acting career as well that I am actively trying to make more time for.
Right.
Okay, that's something you want to pursue more of.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's my passion. Not that I'm not passionate about the tourism and making an impact on young children's lives, but I'm very much a creative and a writer and performer. So I do all these business things, putting in the groundwork, making the sacrifice of these years of my sanity, of my bank account, of everything. I don't see my friends.
You're a business owner. You're rich.
Oh yeah, I'm rich in other ways. I'm not like financially rich, but I'm very wealthy when it comes to like accomplishment and like the things
how it works. You own a business, you're rich.
Yeah. yeah. Well, that is what people assume. Yeah.
Right.
I know.
So not. Yeah, totally not. But hopefully someday, I hope to build a financial foundation for myself so that I can pursue the things that I am truly, truly passionate about. And I'm still doing them. Like I did the Hallmark movies, and I just shot a music video with Justin Fancy, and somehow ended up helping to write and direct it.
Wow.
Which is like a dream come true. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you told us about your buses.
Yeah.
Your touring company.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a lot. And then you told us about your party bookings. Princess parties.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then as you were telling me about that, I'm thinking, there's still buses. There's 2 of these.
Yeah.
And on top of all of that is your acting career.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of free time on your hands. What
sarcasm. You didn't pick up on that.
What is free time?
Actually, you mentioned that when we first started chatting that your weekends are very heavy.
Yeah.
Is that a pro or a con? If you're getting all your work done or the majority of your work done on the weekends, are you living like a 2-day work week?
I should rephrase. My physical work is a lot on the weekends. So like this is so much of my work. I do all my graphic design. I do all the marketing. I do, scheduling, invoicing, or not invoicing because mom does that, but answering the messages, answering the emails, answering my calls, all of that I do from my phone. I'm like this. I have like a groove in my pinky because I'm not kidding. It's there, like, because I'm like this so often. I know Pop Socket exists. I'm getting there. It's on the list. But it's not like my weekends are heavy. They just require me to be physically present elsewhere other than my desk, my couch, my table, my bed, my bathtub, wherever I'm working from.
Right.
So, or my car, my mobile office. So yeah, weekend heavy is just like physically I have to go in and be somewhere. It's nice to get out of the house. A lot of the time during the week, I'm so tapped into that stuff that like remembering self-care and stuff is a challenge. And it's something, burnout is very much a real thing. And I burned out. I burned out in fall, and I had to like make a lot of changes to make sure I didn't do that anymore. So the weekends, having things on the go, it depends on what it is. And that goes back to like the ADHD thing. If we're not interested, it sucks. And if we are interested, it's so good. It's the best thing ever. And there's a lot of events that I will dread going to, and then once I'm there, I'm having the best time ever, and after I leave, I'm like on cloud 9. I'm like, why do I even dread? But it's just anxiety. That's just being human. So yeah, the weekends, it's nice to get out of the house, but at the same time, it's the only time my partner has off. He works Monday, Friday. And
you let him have a job?
Sorry?
You let him have a job?
Yeah, I know. So rude. He's on the West Coast now dealing with the ship that ran ashore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
And he'll be gone 2 weeks and home for a week and then gone for 2 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
And we have 2 dogs and we're building a house.
Oh, my God.
And I have a bus to convert.
The way you're talking about it, I'm like, this guy must have a job.
No.
Brandon just must be...
Brandon, yeah.
You must... You're bottom bracket.
No, he's got an important job. He's with environmental response, so they're out there working on that ship. So
how do you find as a business owner dating someone that has what seems like a rotational position?
It wasn't rotational up until this ship. Usually it's just a Monday, Friday. But yeah, it sucks that on the weekends, a lot of the time I can't go do things. But the absolute worst part is taking up his weekends with my businesses that are like not his, but he'll help, and he'll help as much as he can. But he's also good at setting a boundary and just saying, sorry, I can't this weekend. Last weekend was a lot. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do I tell myself that?
Right.
Wow, so disciplined. Good for him.
Good for him. Yeah, no, he'll step up when he can, and when he's needed, when he can. And I admire that in him. But yeah,
Eliza, we have a recurring segment on the show where we ask our guests to provide an actionable takeaway for our viewers. So something that you do in your life that you think other people can benefit from.
Yeah.
Does anything come to mind?
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
I think we're in the after hours segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing would, and because it sounds cliche, but it's do your best. But even if your best is shit, just like do it anyway. Like every day. And not every day has to be productive. So I think just being very patient and forgiving of yourself, and reminding, like, I have to always remind myself I'm just one person and I'm doing a lot, and I always try to do more. And some days I'm just shit. Like, I get nothing done, or I send like a really stupid email, or I miss a deadline because I just didn't read it. And I feel like I've taken a step back that day, and then I'm, brutalizing myself for that. But it's okay. Like, it's okay if every day isn't productive. You got to take a few steps back and then get a better perspective, right?
That's right.
You can get that wide angle.
That is a hard lesson learned.
Yeah, it sucks.
So do your best even if your best is shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
There you go.
Of all the things for Elsa to be known for.
Right.
No, that's it.
I think you've expanded what Elsa will be known for now, or at least what Eliza will be known for.
Yeah, I mean, people tend to think that I'm one thing or another, especially portraying a Disney princess for 10 years, people think that like I'm really into Disney or I just love kids and want 5 of them. I'm like, no, I don't want kids.
Just happen to look like a Disney princess.
I just happen to look like her, and I'm an actor, and it's convenient, and like looking like her is an asset. It's a tool, so I'm going to use it and exploit the shit out of it.
There you go. I want to ask you now, have you ever, where you are a writer and an artist and a creative, have you ever made up your own princess story, and do you ever see that coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we actually just had a sold-out show at the Majestic Theater on for Christmas. It was called Once Upon a Christmas. And I wrote it, I produced it, I directed it, and I starred as 2 characters in it.
Wow.
It was
2
hard.
characters.
My quick change did not go well. So I was Maleficent and Fairy Godmother, and it was a story about Maleficent and Fairy Godmother being sisters. Was like the big twist, and their dad was Father Christmas. It was he's a fairy too.
Seems very much like Land of Stories.
It was.
Oh,
It was very much like an accumulation of stories, and people really, really loved it. And it was really, really cute because I got to sing Last Christmas Maleficent's version, and the kids really enjoyed that. Like it came up on the screen, and I was saying how my sister Fairy Godmother had given me this necklace, and then the very next day she'd given it away. I saw Tinkerbell wearing it. So it's all this like silliness.
Right. And,
you know, as a writer, I didn't expect to be writing things for kids because I'm very much like an epic fantasy, like everyone dies kind of novels. Those are my things. So writing for children is like, I want there to be lessons and humor, and like I want it to mean something. I don't want it just to be silly. But yeah, the moment when I'm there just as Maleficent with the horns, the big wings, and it's very serious. I'm like, she had her chance last Christmas, and then you hear the like the Last Christmas start playing, and the crowd died laughing. Like you hear the parents just absolutely dying, and then up on the screen like Last Christmas Maleficent's version, and then you hear the kids laughing, and I like rewrote the lyrics to it to like fit that. So yeah, seeing how well that hit, I very much want to be doing maybe small videos of Fairy Godmother. Like I mentioned, she's the mascot. So maybe Fairy Godmother has like little reels or little skit videos to come out for kids to watch. Because I know that's like super popular on YouTube and stuff. I just don't know when I'll have the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to have to be in that later half where you have a bit of financial freedom and you're able to spend it doing what you want.
A few more years. I will be going to year 4 now with NL Bus Tours, and they say like first 5 years is your
7, 8 for me.
Yeah. They say you won't make profit for your first 5 years, and that's like the hardest part. But I don't know if I will always be the owner of NL Bus Tours.
Right.
I think that I think it was a different idea, and I was the one to get it started. But I don't own my lot. I don't have a shop that can do my repairs or write the inspections. So my maintenance costs are probably, I think I calculated that they're about 60% higher than someone who has all those things like a bus fleet and stuff. I also pay more and charge less.
So at what point does it make sense to have your own lot and have your own mechanic?
A long time.
Okay.
Long time. Or business loans or investors or shareholders. A lot more like businessy things that don't appeal to me. I think that
I've always steered clear of loans and investors.
I did Futurepreneur to start up with $25,000, which I thought was so much money.
I know. Right. You think it is starting out.
I had never seen that much money. Like it was so, and they offered me 45 and I said no. Because I didn't think, how could a bus cost 45? I should have just sold a school bus. And then I got my first bill from the shop that was like $13,000 and sat there and cried. And then the owner came in and was like, well, we'll help you out with this. So shout out to Talks. They've done so good by me. I wouldn't have made it without them. But yeah, I thought that it was so much money. And it is so not. And seeing like the potential for the buses of what it could be bringing in if I didn't have all these maintenance things just makes me feel that maybe I'm not the right person to keep this going. Maybe I was the right person to start it. I had an idea. Yeah. It's very niche. I'm the only one with spray painted buses with Bluetooth speakers and party lights. The party school bus thing, I'm the only one doing that in Newfoundland. But for it to become all that it can be and to realize its full potential, I'm just not the person to do that.
You're more of the startup. Once it's established, sell it, move to the next thing.
Move on to the next thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's not, I don't mean to sound like dispassionate towards my company. It's not that I don't love it and I'm not proud of everything I built and that I'm like, hey, this is done, on to you now. It's just, I think it's because I care and because I want the company to flourish and realize its full potential, but I'm not the one that can do that. Or it would just take me a lot of loans and many, many years.
Intuitive of you to realize that.
Yeah.
So how much do you want? I'm not buying, but you might as well finish the sales pitch.
225,000.
225,000.
You got a number.
I have a number. I mean, and I won't lie. I have talked to some people about selling, and when they asked what I want, I was like, oh yeah. Ooh, how do I like value that? So I asked my business mentor and my dad, who is also a businessman, and I asked Google. So there's like business valuation things in there. So you can you punch in all your numbers, it spits one out to you. So that was the number I landed at. And I was like, I'd like 300,000. I've put in 3 years of hard work. I feel like I've earned that. But I don't want to be one of those people that think that your business is worth more than it is. Like the people on Marketplace are like selling a pair of sneakers for like $200. And there's like gum on the bottom and you're like, it's just not worth that.
I think there's always a bias when selling anything, whether it's a business, your home, pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
You always think it's worth more.
That's worth more because the sentimentality is there. Yeah. So when I was asked to like put a value on the last 3 years of my life, like, how do I do that? So I had to detach and be like, whatever it's worth to me, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to punch my numbers in. Like I know what the business brings in. And I know what I pay for maintenance, and I know what someone else, how much less they would pay. So that's what I based it off.
Eliza, if you could replace one role of all the things that you do now, what would be the first hire that you make? What do you want to offload to somebody else?
I have already offloaded. I hired a manager, so I offloaded taking bookings for dream parties. I hired a manager to do that. She brings dresses around to performers and stuff. So I think that a version of that for bus tours. Someone to handle the day-to-day stuff, help with the social media. Actually, no, let's just go social media because I suck and I hate it.
I feel that.
Yeah. I love making the posters.
I feel like no business owner likes social media.
Yeah. No. It's like, but
it's
like
so much work.
It
and time
is.
Commitment.
It is, and it's so important, and I hate how important it is. And it's not that I'm bad at it. I think I am generally good at it. Like I have taught myself how to do graphic design, and I just figured out AI voiceovers, and like I just put out a little ad for the party room, and I was so proud of it. I screen recorded so I didn't have to sign up for the membership and strip the audio from it and slapped it on. Thrifty, fun and frugal. That's my whole thing. So, yeah, I think just social media is the thing. But it's not even something I'd be handing off because I'm doing a very terrible job of it now. Yeah. Like, NL Bus Tours is not very active on there. Dream parties, like I said, I spent time scheduling a bunch of things, and I don't want to do that again. It's just not something I have an interest in.
I'm surprised there's not more people doing that locally because there's a definite demand for it.
Oh, there is. Yeah. And the thing is, I do know of people who do it for like friends' businesses, but I don't pay myself with NL Bus Tours. I'm not on a salary. I haven't made a cent in 3 years building the business. That's not what I'm doing it for. My drivers have made more money than I have. My partners made more money than I have. But it wouldn't have been sustainable for me to be making money and the business to grow at the rate as it did. Year one bus, year two buses, year three buses, going into year 4, getting my 4th bus. that wouldn't have been possible if I was also trying to pay myself from it. And that's another reason why I kept dream parties as sole proprietorship, because it pays my bills. It's not a side hustle. Neither one of them are a side hustle.
Right.
They're equally important to me. And I look at it as like bus tours has a lot of potential in the future to like grow. Like you can only book so many time slots in the party room. Weekends are the biggest thing. I can do summer camps, whatever. But the buses, there's tourism. There's hockey camps. There's a lot more potential there.
Right.
So I kind of have to alternate between.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Eliza, I think this has been a great conversation.
It's a lot.
We can definitely have you back for another episode because you've got so much going on.
Didn't even really touch on the acting and Newfoundland stuff.
We certainly will. Yeah, I think we'll have you back if you're open to that.
No, I definitely love to.
You're gonna have to come back like in a year.
Like a follow up.
For the next season or whatever we end up doing.
What is this, 19 now? So one more episode, we're into season 3.
Yeah.
It's going by.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back for the next season because this has been super interesting. Do you want to?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.